Welcome to HB Tuner's GM Gen 5 Training Part 19. In this training module, we're going to be taking a look at the basics of knock control. So how the knock control works, and then what tables we need to go and look at in order to get acquainted to how the system is going to function here. We're going to have a lot to talk about. Let's jump in so we can check this out.
Okay, so let's get started. We're going to be taking a look at working with the fundamentals of knock control in our GM Gen 5 calibration files. Now this is going to be doing an overview of the knock control and overview of the calibration tables we have to work with. This is going to make sure that you understand, moving into doing any tuning with spark timing or within the knock control routine, understanding what is actually going on. So I always find it's best to understand the fundamentals so you can apply the actual changes you need to make properly and you're not left guessing as to what is actually going on here. Now we're going to do an overview of what's going on with the knock control system as a whole. The next tutorial, we're going to jump in and take a look at some data log examples and then talking about what we can do to actually rid knock from happening. Now, there's always a chance for knock to happen regardless. If you have everything dialed in perfectly one day, the next day you might get knock, you might get some knock retard. That's okay, but we need to recognize the conditions that can trigger that and understand what's going on here. So we are going to be unpacking a lot of information here, looking at knock control as a whole, and then digging in specifically again the next tutorial of what to do when we actually see the knock happening. So any Gen 5 calibration file will work to follow along with this tutorial. I have my 2018 Yukon Denali file that I'm opening up here and working with, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's go up here to the Engine tab. We'll move from General over into our Spark tab. Now under the Spark tab here, we have our Advanced section. We also have a retard and knock sensors. The retard and knock sensors are what we're really going to go through here and unpack in this tutorial, understanding what the tables represent and understanding the things we need to know about those specific tables and what we might want to change based on what we're seeing and kind of conditions we're dealing with. So we're going to do an overview of those, again digging in a little bit further in the next tutorial of actually how to go and deal with the knock control and potential changes we may want to make, and then also how it relates back into spark timing, because to be able to dial in the spark timing table here, we need to make sure that we're paying attention to what the knock is showing us. But there's all kinds of different conditions and things to realize and be aware of when you're looking at the knock control and how it's performing. So the first thing I want to go and do here is just talk about the basics once again with spark timing. So we've covered this pretty extensively. We should understand what this actually means in terms of our spark timing values. But the base timing tables here, there's a low and a high octane. These are going to command where we want the spark timing to start from. This is the base or the starting point. And then we have all of our corrections here. We know how those work. They're going to be modifying the spark timing in some way, either adding or subtracting spark timing for all of the different conditions. So we have the EQ ratio, what we're commanding for the fueling, whether we're in part throttle idle or we're in full throttle conditions, humidity-based correction, intake air temp-based correction, engine coolant temp-based correction, and then down here, variable cam timing-based correction. So we've went through all this. We know that we start at the base, we go through all the modifier tables, and we end up with a spark timing value that we command to fire off the spark plug that's traditionally going to be on the compression stroke, although it could be on the power stroke if we're commanding a negative value here in the base table. But traditionally speaking, we're going to be commanding the spark to happen as a positive value, meaning we're going to be firing off our spark plug somewhere on the compression stroke. Now, we've also talked about in our spark timing video the idea of trying to always chase maximum brake torque timing. Maximum brake torque is going to be the sweet spot between commanding the spark timing that we're going in and we're commanding here from the base table and getting the best possible torque out of the engine for the given octane and air fuel ratio that we're trying to run. We'll find that there is going to be a sweet spot. And then if we're below that amount of timing, so we're below maximum brake torque, we're not going to make as much torque. And if we're above that, we'll be having too much ignition timing and not gaining any benefit from that. So we always want to try to get to or get as close to maximum brake torque as possible. A lot of times it's not going to happen because we just simply don't have good enough octane of fuel to prevent what we have known as knock. So we're typically knock limited before we reach maximum brake torque. And then if we're fitting this back into the base table values here, we command a spark timing to happen in the base table. It goes through all the modifiers. We fire off the spark plug wherever it's going to be on the compression stroke. What we're trying to achieve is the maximum pressure from that combustion process. So the fuel and air are compressed in our compression stroke. We fire it off. We fire that mixture off somewhere on that compression stroke before the top dead center point. Where we fire it off in terms of the spark timing amount that we command here in the table. So see all these values in the table, they're moving around. based on the load, based on the end.
Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here. And you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.